I'm back with another video. It should not come as a surprise that I love trees, especially those in an old growth forest. So, if you like that sort of thing, place to go, Northern California, to the Redwood Forest. Here we go. The Pacific Coast Highway, aka Highway 101, may be the most beautiful drive in the United States. And if you're driving on Highway 101 toward Northern California, you are eventually going to run into Redwood National and State Parks. Yes, I said national and state parks because what we know as Redwood National Park is actually a cooperative effort of 4 entities, actually 5. Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park, Del Norte State Park, Humboldt Redwoods State Park, Prairie Creek Redwoods State Park are all stitched together to form one cohesive unit that we call Redwoods National and State Parks. If you are a tree lover, if you are a tree hugger, if you just enjoy trees, the Redwood Forest is the place for you. When driving through the Redwoods, and I highly suggest that you do, it does not take long to realize that you are in a different place. There are other things to see here, but this is all about the trees. The redwood trees here, specifically the coastal redwood trees, are a species of sequoia tree. So we're familiar with the giant sequoia, which grows in California, tends to grow at higher elevations. You will see them in Sequoia National Park. You'll see them in Yosemite National Park. They're in the Sierra Nevada mountains. The Redwood National and State Parks are some of the least visited parks in the U.S., with just over 400,000 visitors per year. One reason being, there's not a lot that's close to them. It's a 6-hour drive from San Francisco. It's a 4-hour drive from Sacramento. The Redwood Forest is a testament to time. The species predates the dinosaurs. They have been on the planet for an estimated 135 million years. The indigenous people to this area, what we know now is the Redwood Forest, were the Yurok tribe. They have lived on this land for about 10,000 years. I've said in another video that many of our parks and protected lands have a dark past. And once again, this one is no different. I will say this, as settlers moved into California in 1850, by 1853, there were 9 sawmills in the area that we now call the Redwood Forest. I'm going to say it again. Don't get mad at me. History is history. Can't change it. Between 1850 and 1923, 95% of the Redwood Forest had been logged. In 1923, there were groups of people who convinced the government that the remaining trees should be protected. In 1968, the Redwood Forest received national park status in the United States. In June of 1983, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, aka UNESCO, named the Redwood Forest a World Heritage Site. The coastal redwoods are the tallest trees in the world, the tallest of which is 380 feet. They can live up to 2,500 years. There are 4 things that kill trees: insects, fires, disease, and most of all, people. Redwood trees have bark that can be up to 12 inches thick that protect them from 3 out of those 4 things. As you can imagine, a forest this size requires a lot of water. One of the things that allow these trees to grow to this size is that they live on the coast, thus they are called coastal redwoods. A couple of things happen up here. It rains a lot. This is a rainforest. 2, the water in the Pacific Ocean is cold here. When it meets warmer air, it forms fog just about every morning. Fog from the Pacific filters through the forest. 40% of the coastal redwoods' moisture content comes from fog. The trees absorb moisture from the fog high in the canopy through their leaves. It's hard to get some scale when you're walking amongst so many giants. It's also hard to grasp that only 5% of the redwood forest remains. Can you imagine most of coastal California, from San Francisco to southern Oregon, looked like this? Now, I said before that we can't go back in history and change things, but man, somebody need to get snatched up behind this. Something I did not know is that coastal redwoods can share their root system with other redwood trees. So if there is one tree that is lacking in moisture or a bit malnourished, it can receive nourishment from another tree in that system, which will help it stand. There's several hikes that you can do in the redwood forest. There are a number of ancient tree groves, walking among living things that were here before all of us were born and things that will be here for centuries after we're gone. Kind of a humbling experience. One of the don't misses of the redwood forest is a drive through the Avenue of the Giants. It is a 31-mile drive. It is one of the top 10 drives in this world. It takes a bit to get to it because, as I said, the redwoods are not close to anything, but it is well worth it. The Avenue of the Giants is in Humboldt Redwood State Park. Humboldt Redwood State Park is home to the largest old-growth redwood forest in the world. It is at the southernmost end of what we call the redwood forest. I spent several nights camping beneath the trees. I wanted to feel the energy of the trees. I wanted to hear the silence of the forest. I wanted to wake up to the smell of the trees. I spent 2 nights in 2 different locations. One of the places I camped was on Gold Bluffs Beach. It's a bit hard to get to, but you can camp right on the ocean and listen to the waves all night long. Hard to get in because the place fills up fast, but I highly recommend it. Wanting to immerse myself in the forest, I decided one night I'm going to take a night hike and I'm going to go photograph the stars. So I put on my headlamp and struck out down this little road. It was everything that I hoped it would be. I could hear the ocean. I had the redwoods. It was a clear night. I could see the stars. I stood and stargazed for about an hour and a half. But just let me say this. Out hiking around in the dark in the forest by yourself is all fun and games until you hear something moving in the woods. You will hear and read lots of information about how in that moment you should not panic. Good luck with that. I said, look, I don't know what you are, but I'll cut you a deal. If you leave me alone, I'm leaving. There's more than likely a deer, perhaps an elk. There are elk in this area. It was about 3 a.m., so I decided I've had enough for the night. It is time for me to go crawl in the tent. Please take a moment to click that like and subscribe button. I'm trying to keep up with that YouTube algorithm. This was my second trip to the redwood forest. Being among such enormous living things was humbling and rejuvenating all at the same time. So like so many other places that I travel to, I will be planning on how I can get back here again. But until then, I will leave you with these. Thank you for watching. I'll be posting another video soon from my travels through the Pacific Northwest. Please tune in.